this video, I am going to show you how to design and export a stamp using my new Photoshop actions. So I'm going to show you two different things. First, how I would start the design in Illustrator, and then how to use the Photoshop actions. And what's really nice about these actions is there's one action that doesn't require you to use Illustrator. So if you don't have Illustrator, this could be a good option for you. So first things first, I just did a couple of sample address stamps since that was similar to the stamp I've removed from a self-inking stamp that I'm going to replace, and you'll see, hopefully you've seen that already in the video. And I just played around with some different fonts. I'm not like super in love with any of them, but it's a sample, so it will work. So from here, after designing the stamp, all I did was create the cut lines for it. And in this case, the cut lines don't have to match the design like this. It's not necessary. This could easily be a circle or a rectangle. You're not going to see them. They're just how the stamp is cut out. In this case, I do have them a little bit closer to the shape because it saves me time. So I'm not going to have to engrave all of this negative space. I can just engrave from edge to edge and then run the cut, which is kind of nice. But in general, a rectangle or circle will be perfectly fine, and you can make that in your Glowforge interface or whatever vector program you're currently working in. So once I've done this sample, all I would need to do is just copy this over and then set it to outlines. So I'm going to take the typography here, and I'm going to ignore this piece, just delete it. So if this is the one I've chosen, I'm just going to copy it over by hitting Option Drag on the Mac, and then I'm going to go to Type, and create outlines. So that's now ready to go. That's all you need to do. So in my previous video, I showed you step by step how I would flip it and move it over. For this method, all you have to do is set it to outlines and then take any strokes and go to Object, Path, Outline Stroke, copy it, and you're ready to go over to Photoshop. So let's swap to Photoshop now. So now I'm going to create a new document. And something I missed in my last video that I didn't mention is you want to set the resolution to 96. And this matters because with this resolution, it's going to upload at the correct size when you bring it into the Glowforge interface. I'm going to go to inches, and then I'm going to put whatever the size of my stamp is. In this case, it's a 1.75 inch stamp, 96 pixels per inch. None of this matters with my Photoshop action, and you'll see why. I'm going to hit create, and then I am going to just paste that design in. So let me come in here, hit Command V to paste, and then it doesn't matter what you do. I'm just going to hit pixels, and you can see there it is. Now it's going edge to edge. I actually want to leave some space around it, so I'm going to scale that in, and I just held the Option key and dragged it in. I'm going to hit enter. And that's all I need to do. So the key things before you click my actions, which are right here, is you want to make sure this stays layer 1. Do not rename this, and that this stays background, so don't mess with that. Now to upload the actions, if you don't already have them loaded, you're going to click this drop down, and you're going to hit load actions, and you're going to navigate to the ATN file named stamp action, which I don't have these exported, but you would just navigate like you normally would for any file. You're then going to open the folder, and you're going to hit stamp. So stamp upload is different. I'm going to show you that in a moment. But you're going to hit stamp. And you can see all the steps in here. So there's a couple different ones. It's basically following my tutorial, but it makes it easy for you. I'm then going to hit play. And it's done. And it's just going to ask you to save it now. So it goes through the entire thing. You don't have to do anything else. Now all you have to do is name it. Hit save to your desktop or wherever you want that to be. I leave that at maximum, doesn't really matter, and I'm going to click OK. Done. That is a completed stamp. From there, all I need to do is either upload to the Glowforge interface, or I can just place it in here. So I'm going to go to File, Place, and then I can go down to my desktop here, and I can find that, and it was called something called Sample, and I believe. You can click in place, and there you go, you have a stamp. It's done. All you would need to do now is draw your cutting rectangle and upload this. Swap those. So just draw a square over top to cut it. So I'm actually going to cut edge to edge on this in this case. And that file would be ready to upload. So you can see it's slightly different here. I'll show you how to adjust that. So if you have some trouble, maybe your design needs a little bit more of a shoulder, a little bit less of a shoulder, you can come back into your stamp action here and scroll down and you're gonna look for something called Set Layer Styles. And then if you click this box here, what that's going to do is it's going to pause the action at that step and allow you to change your settings. So I'm gonna go back to history, go back to as if this was new, go to paste, so let's start over. I'm gonna replay the action. And now it's going to pause here at my layer style. And if I find, for example, I wanna lower the pixels a little bit, and I think for the size of stamp, I might need to lower them just a little, I can do that. I can then click OK. It's gonna jump to the save, and it's gonna do the same thing. So I'm gonna call this sample 1 and just overwrite the other file. Click OK. And then here, this one should update. If it doesn't, then you wanna go into Window and Links. And you'll see, here's my sample file, and I probably just need to double click it or right mouse click and hit update. There's like a little button for that, where you can click here, I think, and go to update link. And there we go, it should be updated. If it didn't, it would normally. So occasionally, sometimes it like you can embed it, do some different things, but you should be able to update your links in Illustrator. So that is the first way, really, really simple. But let's say you don't have Illustrator, so you didn't create a vector-based stamp, someone sent you a logo or some little flat JPEG graphic, or you have something in color. Let me show you how to do that. So I also have something called Stamp Upload, and I might rename that because it's not very clear, but I'm gonna hit open, and I'm going to grab a sample file from my desktop, and I know I have something kind of crazy over here somewhere. So let's see if I can find it. Oh my goodness. All right, let's do this a little faster because I know I have it right over here. So let's take this little file here and let's drag it into Photoshop, and we'll have that upload. So let's say that you have something like this that you're working with, and this is my sample because this shows you kind of how the action actually works. So if you have something in color and you need to get that adjusted, this is the action you want to use. So I'm going to hit play, and it's going to pause a couple times. If you open the action, you can see there's a lot of steps in this one, and there's a couple different places where it's going to pause and let us input information. So I'm going to hit play, and then the first thing it's going to do is going to ask me what size I want it. You can see that this is an absolutely huge stamp at 54 inches, and we do not need it to be that big. So I'm gonna say, let's just pretend I actually wanna make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stamps out of this. So let's say 8 inches, and we'll just guess that that's our size. I'm gonna click OK. It's then gonna jump to black and white, and you can see it's zoomed out because I made the image smaller. This is important, this is the most important step. So you're gonna need to look at your individual stamp and adjust how the colors go into black and white. So literally, it's very simple, just play with it. All you gotta do is slide these suckers around until they're what you want them to look like. And you wanna make it as black as possible. But if you look at this, this Olympics logo, you can see me going through the yellow changes how that one appears as well as on the Google logo. So just make sure you pay attention and you're getting the look you want. You don't wanna have any gray. You wanna pretty much minimize that wherever possible. But it's relatively easy. So you can just play around until you have essentially what you're looking for. In this case, I'm going to eliminate the yellow, and I'm going to click OK. And then it's going to bring up brightness and contrast. And in this case, you might want to just leave it as it is, but for the most, sometimes you can adjust it a little bit and kind of see what you're going to get, but it's not usually going to do what you want. It depends on the logo. You can see this is not an ideal logo for stamping. It's probably going to look a little crazy. But in the case of our 7-Eleven, if we bring that down, we're going to get something that we can work with here. So I'm going to ignore the Wikipedia logo. It's not ideal for stamping. You really want to have something that's black and white. And I'm going to just slide that probably midway. I can hand adjust this later if I need to. But you would obviously want to do these individually because you can see when I fix this one, it messes this one up. So you need to kind of play with it until you get this just right for your individual logo. Thank you, Sulu. That was a nice cat announcement, just in case you needed that. And then it's going to complete the action again, and you can then save it. So it's going to bring it up to your save. You're going to hit logo, and then I'll just add the tail end there, and I'm going to click save. And it's correcting me because I used the wrong file extension. I'm going to click OK. And there you go. And that's how you would do a color logo. So the ideal thing here, I showed you with the multiple logos on this, but you would want to do them one by one. But that's how that would work. Now again, if this shoulder doesn't work for you, I always recommend kind of testing this action out with your individual artworks. You can always come in here and you can look for that set layer styles function and then turn that on. Now same thing with like the saves. When you're working with actions, you can turn on and off steps. So for example, if your logo was already black and white and you don't need that step, you can just check that off and it will turn off that part of the action. So if you mess them all up, just delete them and re-upload them, but you can play around with these to customize them to work the way you would like. And then when you are finished with that, as you can see, I already had these ones. You can see also, one thing to note, this flips them backwards for you, which is something I always would forget to do with stamps. So I've made sure that that's in there. But if yours was already backwards, you could again turn that one as well, because I think in the beginning of it, we have invert or something here where you're gonna flip it. So just make sure you kind of flip first document. So there you go. So I think that's where it is. You would turn that off if you didn't need to flip it. Or if it flipped it and you didn't need to, you could go to image, adjustments, I think it is, or image rotation, and then flip horizontal. So if it flipped it, but you didn't need it flipped, you can flip it back. Let's go back to Illustrator really quickly. And then from here, you would have something like this. So the last step I'm going to show you really quickly is how I would create the individual cutouts for these using the stamps that I already have. So I'm going to release the clipping mask so you can see what I uploaded. And we'll skip this one for now since it's just like a little finicky of a shape. So let's say this is the stamp that you had exported. It's ready to go, but you don't want to waste all the time engraving these corners that you don't need. So you want to cut it into a circle and save time. So the way I did that was I just drew a red circle using my shape tool, and you can click and hold to find that. Lined it up, highlight both objects, right mouse click, and hit make clipping mask. Now that will solve your first problem, but now our circles disappeared. I don't want to have to redraw it, so I'm going to undo it, and instead I'm going to grab the circle, I'm going to copy it, then I'm going to do the same thing again, and then don't worry about it yet, we're going to bring that other circle back. But now you actually want to go to Object, and then I believe it's Rasterize here. And the reason you want to do that is if you try to upload this to the Glowforge interface as it is, it's going to remove your clipping mask and the black is going to return. We have to actually flatten it and remove any of that additional content. So I'm going to hit Rasterize. I can do transparent. It doesn't really matter because white's not going to engrave. I'm going to click OK. And then now that I've done that, I'm going to go to Edit and Paste in place. And I usually use Command-Shift-V, the keyboard command, and it's going to paste that circle exactly where it was. So as long as the circle was where you wanted it to start, it's good to go. And you can do that with any shape. So that's like a really nice little Illustrator tip to help you remove any additional stuff. If you don't have Illustrator, you can always come back and manually erase. So for example, if this was my logo that I was working with, I'm going to draw my circle, move it around so it looks right. I can actually do something called select inverse here. And then that way I won't accidentally erase my stamp, and I can just hit the erase tool, go to my little layer background here, and just erase until it's the way I want. So you can do that manually in Photoshop. You don't need to do that in Illustrator. It's just if you happen to be uploading multiple stamps or you have other elements in here and you want your vector cut paths and all of that, it's a lot easier for me to bring them over in Illustrator and just do that here. And then I think the last little tip is I will show you how to create this outline. So this is kind of a little bonus tip here. So I'm going to drag this over by option dragging. And then I'm going to do something called offset path. So I'm going to go to Object, Path, Offset Path. And you can see that was a lot. So we're going to bring that down. Let's try 0.2. And we have preview checked, so we'll see. So that doesn't look too bad. Let's try 0.18. See how that looks. 0.15. I want it a little bit closer if I can. Nope, I'm going to go back up because I don't want all this like bumpy craziness over here. So let's go back to 0.18. Yep, I'm happy with that. I'm going to click OK. And while it's still selected, I'm going to come over here to my Pathfinder and I'm going to fuse it together. And then I'm just going to swap the fill and stroke, and there you go. If you want to adjust it, you can come to your smooth tool and you can smooth it out like that. Or you can go to Object, Path, Simplify, and then just slide it along until it has as few paths or as few anchor points as you need. So that's a really quick way to get your outline in a way that's going to work for you, and that would work for any shape. Even though this has like all kinds of open areas, as long as it's big enough, it'll kind of overlap them into a nice shape like this. So after that, you're just going to want to bring it into your Glowforge interface, and then let me show you my settings really quickly. So if you're using a Glowforge, this will help you. So these are my settings. For a stamp with a shoulder engraved, like we have here, I'm going to do 310 speed, 93 power, very power, maximize quality, and 450 lines per inch. So that's my particular settings. And then for cutting the shape out, I just do 130 full. So hopefully that will help you. You will be seeing either in the next part here how I'm actually going to set up the stamps and put them in the housing. So let's get on to that.